Good morning, girls. This is Connie over 70 and still glamorous. Well, I've got a busy day ahead of me, and I've got, at the very most, 15 minutes to be on this video. I'm in the process of taking my mom to the emergency room because, different things. But I just want to make sure, no one's ever told me if she's got dementia or not. And I think now that she's definitely getting signs that they're telling me that she can't sit up. Just the last 2 nights only, she's been able to lay flat on her back. And when I've gone in to check her several times, she has her mouth open when she's sleeping. So she has been sleeping in a fetal position for the last few months. So little changes like that. She's not eating as much. Obviously, she's sleeping so much. You can't get water in her when she's sleeping, so I'm hoping that they'll give her some glucose and stuff, and I know that it'll make her bloom like a flower, because that's what that stuff does. Anyway, my twin is on the way, and she'll go with me in case I'm forgetting to ask certain questions, and she'll always interject or whatever. And I also wanted to say that the polish that my sister gave me from Revlon, surprisingly, looks pretty darn good, for this is going to be the 3rd day that I'll be wearing it. And maybe I'll put another coat, I don't know, but anyway, it's pretty durable. And what else? I got a compliment on my last video because I had worn silver and gold, and Sue had mentioned that she had read that you could wear silver and gold jewelry together. And I said, oh, definitely. Silver and gold, the more chains the better, with pearls, I think looks so feminine and so glamorous and so vogue. So Sue, you are right on. And what else? Well, I've got so many things going through my mind with my mom. I still have to get her ready. I got to get her up, and hopefully she will accept the coffee and get up. So it's gloomy outside, and hoping it won't be pouring when I get her in my car. Well, the car's in the garage, so she won't get wet, but hopefully it will be somewhat of a nice day. So just wanted to, stop by and let you know what's going on today. And maybe I can catch up with you in a little while. Maybe I'll even do something with my hair, even just to get it out of the way a little bit. I'm really short on time, so we'll see. I don't know. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it. Anyway, hope to catch up with you later. Mwah. Until then. And here's a perfect example of mixing gold, silver, and pearls. This necklace is all in one, and as you can see, it has the 2 different kinds of metal there. It's not real gold and it's not real silver. And in case you're asking yourself, why is she getting so dressed up to go to the emergency? Well, it's a way to keep my spirits up, Not only that, I think people are more attentive to you in an emergency or otherwise when you look your best. Isn't that true? Okay, so I'll be cutting out again and see what happens the rest of the day. Oh, Lordy. Well, my sister just called me. She should be here any minute. And she wanted me to have an ambulance come pick up my mom. But I said no. And here's why. Hold on. I think I'm better. I don't know what. Anyway, so the reason why I would rather take my mom in my car is because after they do all the tests and everything that they want to do, and there's really nothing else they can do, I know that they want you to spend the night in the hospital on occasion, sometimes quite a few times, and that's okay one day. But if she doesn't have to spend the night, no, let me back up. One night is okay, but when I go back and they're telling me, well, we want to keep her for a few more days, and I already know that there's nothing else they can do, I say no, I'm going to take her home, because God forbid my mom would die in a hospital, okay? And I don't want her to die in a hospital. Number one, it's too cold. The visitation becomes hectic for everybody, and I want her to be at home. Now, once before, the last time I took her, which was a year and a half, I don't know, something like that, maybe a little longer, they were telling me you can't take her home. Well, my mom's high blood pressure kept going up and up and up and up and up because all she has to do is see the white uniform and her body freaks out, okay? It's been a nice level 140, you know, high blood pressure, and that's where I wanted to stay. So I actually had to tell them, I am taking my mother home. You know me, girls, now. I'm taking her home. You give me the papers to sign, and I will take total responsibility. Well, at that time, the doctor said, I'm sorry to give you the bad news. Your mom is in really bad shape. Well, like I said, it's been over a year and a half, and so you can't believe everything you hear from doctors, unless it's the physician himself. Okay, so long story short, I'm bringing her home so she can be at home. I'm sorry, that's just the way I am. And when sometime today, I'm going to tell you the story about when my dad passed away. Now, I told you I've got two brothers and a father that passed away, and they all had what I call a holy death. So I'll tell you that hopefully sometime today. Okay? Check it out again for a while. Well, went into the bedroom to wake my mom up, and she was kind of wide-eyed and bushy-tailed. So I gave her some coffee and a little bit of water in a bottle with the cap, and my sister's here already by now, and went into the kitchen to get something. And when I came out, my sister says, she screwed the cap off of the bottle. Well, of course, while I'm in the kitchen, I'm thinking, there's no reason to take her to emergency because she's going to look pretty together, right? At least that's what I'm thinking. So, long story short, I'm getting ready to make my mom some bacon and eggs and pan-fried potatoes, and my sister's taking off for a couple of hours. So, you never know what God is going to put in front of you, do you? So that's what's happening. Okay, I've got everything squared away now with my mom, and a little bit of time before I go out and do whatever it is I need to do. So I'm going to tell you this story about my dad when he passed. And I'm telling you this story because I learned a lot of things that were totally different from when we buried my brother, the first brother that passed away, which has been quite a while now. So here was the difference. Of course, when you lose the first person in your family, you're really kind of scrambling. You're not really sure what you're going to do and stuff like that. And it was quite a while ago, you know, could be 20 years ago, something like that, 15, 20 years ago. Anyway, so my dad always had a problem with his lungs because he used to tell us that when he was in Burma, they would be in the foxholes for long periods of time, and the water would be way up here. And so his lungs got damaged. And in his younger days, he smoked, which didn't help the lung situation. And anyway, as time went on, obviously, he was leaning towards possibly dying of emphysema, which I believe is one of the most horrible ways to pass away. Nothing worse than trying to grasp for air, and you're panicking, and it's just a horrible thing all around. Well, they lived in Garden Grove, California. My mother and father were managing some apartments. And of course, my father's getting older and he's getting a little bit sicker, so I suggested that they move out to where my husband and I were, which was Hemet, California, for a short time, because that's where my husband was going to start an air conditioning business. And I think I told you that we planned on being there, 3 years. We ended up staying there 13 years because the business just took off like wildfire. Anyway, back to my dad. So they took my advice and they moved into a lovely apartment with no worries about having to deal with renters in Garden Grove, California. So I believe they were there for, I want to say maybe 5 or 6 years. And my dad was progressively getting worse, and we were taking him a couple of times to emergency to have assistance to be able to breathe, and they had put a little thing in his mouth. And when I went that last time, when they had that in his mouth, the doctor, the Asian doctor, was just telling me, oh no, we can't take it out of his mouth because, you know, he'll die, basically. But when the doctor would walk away, my dad's eyes were this big, and he was like telling me, get this darn thing out of my mouth. So I said to the doctor, in my firm voice, take it out. He doesn't want it there. He'll deal with the consequences. So, of course, the doctor was a little hesitant, but he went ahead and did it. And then my father was, you know, fine for a month or two again. And one of the problems that I realized my father was doing was, there is a casino in Hemet. I forget what it's called. And he was going there to play, you know, the penny machines or whatever machines he was playing. And now I had walked into that casino one time in the 13 years I lived in Hemet. And it was so smelly with soap, I just couldn't handle it. Anyway, he was going someplace where he should not have been going. So now comes a day where my sister is going to take them out to lunch, my mother and my father. And I guess I was just home, or I don't know, maybe I was working. No, I wasn't working because I got the phone call. Anyway, so my father wanted to go have Mexican food and have his favorite menudo soup. And my sister kind of noticed that he was getting a little bit pale and that he didn't eat all of his food. So her and my mom finished quickly and they went home. My dad walked up the stairs because they had a second-story apartment. My dad walked up the stairs and my mom and my sister are behind him. And he went and sat at the table, which is where he always, most of the time, was at the table, because he used to love to read the paper and other things. Or he'd put on a tape recorder and he'd be, you know, singing his songs and making tapes for us, which I still have, and maybe I'll play one for you. And then all of a sudden, my sister looked at him and he was slowly going, and he had a massive heart attack. Never knew it hit him. So my sister ran to him before he fell off of the chair and gently helped him lay on the floor. My mom helped her to put him on the floor. So we put out a blanket on the floor. My mom calls me and said, Connie, come over, your dad, there's something wrong. Well, he was already dead. But anyway, so I went over there because I was only a couple of blocks away. And they had my dad on a nice blanket on the floor. And they were in the process of changing his clothes and cleaning him up and combing his hair. And they had put a little candle and some of his little statues of Jesus that, you know, he loved. And kind of had like a little memorial around him. So then we called 911. And 911 came. And of course they tried to revive him for a good 30 minutes and, you know, to no avail. And my sister and I are very calm. My mother's very calm. Because I was calm because I thought to myself, the last thing I wanted to see was my dad suffer with emphysema. So to me, having a heart attack that stopped everything immediately was a blessing. And that's how I felt. And that's how I still feel. And we all did, as a matter of fact. So they're trying to revive him, and they finally tell us no. And by now the police came, you know, because they always investigate a death and stuff. And everybody was very, very nice. And they couldn't believe how relaxed and composed the three of us were with my dad. So the policeman says to us, you know, you can have your father here for 5 or 6 hours if you wish to do so before you call the morgue. He said, I think it'll be a lot more comfortable than to have the morgue come take him wherever they take him, and then trying to get people in, you know, one or two at a time to see your dad for the last time. And so we said, well, thank you for telling us that. So that's what we did, you know. We put on some nice clothes on him. We made our phone calls to our brothers and our sisters and said, listen, you got so much time to get over here and see Dad if you want to, and then the morgue is going to take him. So that was something that I never knew, and maybe you don't either. Now, having said that, I'm thinking about how in the olden days, when you used to watch, say, the Western movies or whatever, they had the deceased person on the table, and he would be there until they were ready to put him in the ground. So everything was just calm, everything was in order, everything was in one accord, and we were all in unity, and the people that came in and out of the house were very nice to us and very understanding and kind of in wonderment. And so my dad stayed home during when he died and for the next 5-6 hours. So once that happened, then we could go to make arrangements for the funeral. Now, when my brother died, who was the first family member in our family to pass away, our immediate family, we didn't know anything about going to a funeral home. And if you don't, you're going to pay 4 or 5 times too much than you should. I'm just saying. And we did. So, of course, things happened and differently with my dad now because we had this information. So we went to the mortuary, and we decided that we would bury my dad kind of different than my father. And everything went well. I believe he had a gun salute. It's been a while now, and everything was fine. And just like my brother passed away, which was our middle brother, Gary, I felt very blessed, and I felt full of grace and happy that the Lord had arranged, in my mind, everything in advance. So we just had to follow his direction, you know. Anyway, that's what happened with my dad. Another time, I'll tell you about what happened with the first brother that passed away. Okay? All right. So now, have a great day. I'll see you again soon, God willing. Take care and stay warm. The sun is just starting to come out over here, so praise God. Anyway, bye, girls. Love you. This is my papa, John Emil Sanchez. He was so handsome, all the way to the end. So I decided to eat some breakfast here at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and probably go to a late service at church, or maybe a late movie. I don't know. Anyway, I guess this is the real ending of the video. Bye, girls. Love you.